We spend so much time obsessing over the front end that we kind of forget about the back end, where the actual work begins and ends. And I have just a thing for you, and I've been testing this plugin for a few weeks now, and I think it's very useful. And I'm talking about Smart Admin Assistant, which turns your WordPress admin into a clean, high-performance workspace with smarter workflows, better security, and serious speed upgrades. And it is an all-in-one plugin, and that is the most amazing thing. And the plugin itself is optimized for speed, so it will not slow down your website, because we don't like to add too many plugins to a website if we don't need to. So if you're tired of cluttered WordPress dashboards, let's get into it. All right, we are on the website of Smart Admin Assistant plugin, and we're going to be looking at pricing. I will leave a link in the description below so you can read all about it. There's so much information, and I don't want to get into too many details. I want to show you how to use it and what you get with it. But we're going to look at pricing, because that's the one thing that we want to cover first of all. They also have great customer support. I have actually tested customer support for you. That is something that is important to you guys. I've seen that from comments that you have left on other products that I presented on this channel. I agree with you. Absolutely. Customer support is paramount, especially these days when customer support has become AI everything. So they are humans. I actually talked to them and they were very helpful. As you can see, you can pick between yearly and lifetime. So let's check the lifetime deal. I think it's pretty fair, to be honest. They are, of course, currently running a Black Friday deal. I think still the full price is fantastic if you are sick of WordPress dashboard clutter, and I believe that you are. All right, so let's look down the page a little bit. You get also 100% money back guaranteed for 60 days. So if you're not happy after you have tested the plugin for 60 days, you can ask for a refund. Honestly, when companies offer a refund like this, I feel like they trust that their product is good and they will not need to refund. So that is my opinion. I don't know how you guys say. All right, so here we can see the feature category in the free version and the pro version. As I said, you can use the plugin for free. They do have basic functionality for the free version, so you can test it out to some extent, see if you like it, if it works for you, all the good stuff, and then you can upgrade if you want. As I said, I will have a link in the description below if you want to do that. Any of this, you can also download it for free to test it out. And we have some FAQs that you can read here, and yeah, that's about it. As I said, if you have questions, you can contact them anytime. So now let's get into an actual practical demo of this plugin. Let me show you around and see what it can do. Right, I'm in the back end of the website that I want to beautify the dashboard of and the login experience and everything else. So I have installed Smart Admin Assistant Pro. Okay, I also have the free version, but I'm going to show you the full version so you can decide either way. Once you have installed it, you will be prompted to activate it by adding your license key. The license key has been sent to you when you purchased the plugin. Okay, so check your email. I'm going to activate it. And once you have added your license, you will see the Smart Admin Assistant on the left-hand side of your dashboard. And if you hover over it, you can see that you have access to all the modules from here. But I'm going to go right away in the dashboard. And how this dashboard is organized, as you can see here, is in modules. As you can see here on the right hand side, where you have a little bit more visibility on what is happening on your website, you can see that it tells us we have active 14 plugins out of 17. We have active one module out of 12, and we are running a WordPress version, this number, and the Hello Elementor theme. And you can also search to do something, whatever you need to do. And we could look for hide admin bar. So let's look for hide admin bar. If you don't know what that is, it's the bar that appears here at the top. I have been given 10 matching settings. We can hide admin bar in the back end. We can hide admin bar in the front end, other matches. But what I wanted actually was to hide the admin bar in the back end. So I'm going to turn this on. You can also configure it if you want further. So it's going to take you directly to the option where you can go a little bit more deep into that. but what we want to do is actually just hide this. So I'm gonna apply one change. So I have reloaded the page. As you can see, the admin bar has disappeared. If you want to enable it again, you can go here to admin interface and you can hide it. Turn this off and that's it. Refresh, reload, and it's back. So it's pretty cool. If you have a license for your Pro plugin, you can add it here. I'm not going to click on it because it's going to actually show my license key. Let's keep it secret. All right, so let's jump right in the admin interface module, and we can from here hide the admin bar in the backend, in the front end, and let's turn this on. Let's see what happens. As you can see, we now have access to hide the admin bar for user roles. But this is a Pro feature, so if you have the Pro version, then you will be able to access it, otherwise no. So if I turn this on, you will see that I can now declutter the dashboard for editors, authors, contributors, subscribers, admin. And this is very good if you don't want these individuals to be overwhelmed by the website information. But in order to actually see the changes, you need to reload the page. I'm gonna do this. As you can see, it disappeared. So I'm gonna deactivate it. And again, reload the page and it's back. So we have access to it again. Now we can also hide notice management. And here we can enable the dashboard customization. Again, this is a Pro version. We can also go to dashboard column layouts and we can customize this further. So let's go to the dashboard and let's see the situation. So currently we have 4 columns, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let me go again to admin interface and let's see what we can do. I only want to have 1 column, and I also want to remove, what do we want? Quick drafts, recent comments. Maybe we don't want the WordPress events. Actually, I will leave the recent comments and I will delete recent draft, and I can delete at a glance. Let's reload and let's go back to see what we have managed to change. So go to the dashboard. As you can see, we have one big huge column, and I think it's a little bit more streamlined and easier to grasp. So as you can see, you can enable menu customization, and by menu they refer to the left hand side of your dashboard, which is this part here. Most of the times I think it's a lot of stuff that maybe we don't necessarily need, but we can also organize it in a way that is easier to grasp. So if you want, for example, to have the most important items tabs or at the top of the bar, you can move them around. We just show you how to do that. So basically, I want to see the post first. I need the media to be here, or I need the analytics to be there. What else? I need my SEO to be very accessible. So as you can see, everything is the top of the column. But you can also hide if you don't want something. For example, comments. I don't want the comments to be visible. I don't want the appearance because I'm not working with that. Actually, it's pretty good. So you can make it as clean as possible. Also, you can change the names of the items if you want. You can name them however you want. This is the beauty of it. That is something that is up to you. Also, you can enable this list table enhancements if you want. You can add a featured image, last modified excerpt, maybe even word count if this is something that you want. Let me just reload and let's go to see our posts. So what did we add? We have added excerpt, word count, last modified. So this is pretty cool if you really want something like this. I don't have an image, so that image was not actually, the featured image was not added because it doesn't exist, but still, if you have it, you will see it there. And similar options are available for the media library, for the page list columns, user list columns. It's exactly the same thing. We can also do some UI enhancements. For example, have an infinite scrolling in the media library, which is actually pretty cool. Let me enable that. Again, it's a pro feature. And also display active plugins first. I'm going to activate this option. Let's reload, and I'm going to go to first check the media library, and let's scroll. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it's loading. This is actually pretty cool. And let's go to plugins. And as you can see, first of all, we see only the plugins that are active, and at the end we see the ones that are not active. And of course, this is very dependent on you, what you want and how important these features are for you. I think some of them are really, really useful. Some maybe not as much, but you have options. You can even customize the thank you for creating with WordPress text. Basically this part here, if you want, you can customize it so it's very on brand with your own brand. And you can hide the WordPress version in footer. Let's see what happens. And as you can see here, it cleaned out, it has disappeared. And you can also reset to default and you will be back to normal. The next module on our list is the login and user. And this is also a very good one. I have already enabled the custom login URL. If I disable, there's nothing to it. But if I enable it, you can actually add whatever custom login slug you want. So this will appear at the end of your website link. Test login. So I have added a new slug, custom slug, and the default login URL redirect will be 404. You can choose between redirect to homepage, to a custom URL if you want. You can add your custom URL here. Actually, let's test this login. I'm gonna go into a incognito page and I'm gonna add it here. Okay, so let's update this and it has loaded. Okay, so this is how it looks. It's nothing special right now, but we're gonna customize it. We have the option to enable the login ID restrictions. This, as it says here, it restricts users to log in with either username or email address only. So you can customize this and make it a little bit more secure. So this actually, all this help with security, although it's not part of the security module. I think it still adds to that, making your website even more secure. Okay, and you can choose here between username only or email only. Okay, I'm gonna disable it. You can also enable the magic login. You know, some websites have this option where you can generate a magic login and the user will actually access the website through the magic login and they will log in. You can set the expiration time for the magic login. It says here 15 minutes. I think you can start with 1, but that's a little bit too short. You can set it to 5 hours, 1 hour, whatever you want, up to 1,440 minutes. Token usage, meaning how many times the magic login link can be used before expiring. It's 1. You can set it to how many times you want, however many times you want. And this is the email that you will receive with the magic link. You can turn this on or off if you want. Okay, now this is pretty cool. We have the login page customization and you've seen it. It's very boring, okay? It's very WordPress, let's face it. And we can actually do some fun things here. So now what we can do here is actually upload a logo. So I'm gonna upload a logo and let's see what we have. I'm gonna go with this one, use this image, and it pulls basically from your media library, okay? The logo title, logo link, background color. You can actually customize the background color. You can even upload a background image if you want. You can have the form background color changed as well, form border color, button color. Since we have the background color black, I'm gonna add this color because this is basically part of the brand. So form background color, this is going to be looking very strange. Yeah, I will leave that. And then let's see what happens if we set it this way. So I'm going to reload and let's have a look. So this is how it looks. So this is actually pretty fun, to be honest. You can customize it even further, as I said, but it looks really good. So this is pretty fun, I would say. Let's go to user tracking and columns. We can enable the user tracking, so it records when the user logged in, and you know it's very similar to the activity log plugin. Show last login column, show registration date column, etc. Even the IP if you need to. And you can also enable logout redirect, and you can choose default redirect URL, and you can specify the logout redirect for each role. Very cool. Again, you have a reset module if you need. Let's move on to performance. For example, if you enable the revision control, it limits the number of revisions stored for posts and pages. You know, sometimes when you get an error for like whenever you make a change to, for example, to a homepage, and you made so many changes, you don't even know how many changes you've made to the homepage, that your server shows an error of 501, I think it is. And there's a specific plugin I used to use for cleaning out the website of the stored revisions, because if those revisions reach a tipping point, there's nothing you can do. You need to clean out your website. This way, if you have this enabled, you can set a maximum revisions to keep. You can auto delete the old revisions, clean up existing revisions, which is easier. So you don't have just a specific plugin for this feature. You have everything here. Then we can set the Orbit API management here as well. It reduces the server load. You can also enable data optimization. Again, it does all the things that it needs to clean out your data. Then you have the caching and loading as well. There's some options that you can enable here and also reset the whole module. Now let's move on to security, because performance and security are very important. You can enable login protection, and you know that brute force, especially for WordPress websites, is a little bit more common. You can have a maximum login attempts here set if you need to lockout duration as well if those login attempts have been reached. Progressive lockout. You also have CAPTCHA protection, which you know that is as well important for forms, for login forms, especially for comment forms. So if you enable the CAPTCHA protection, you have the option for one of those funny tests for a math question, image CAPTCHA, or Google reCAPTCHA v2. So you can even test it if you need to, and it's gonna look like this, okay? So it's easy to imagine how it's gonna look on your form. The same for comments. Gonna disable this. Password protection, enable site-wide password protection, requires a password to access the entire website. Useful for staging sites. So you can set your password, protection page title as well, etc., etc. Whitelisted IP addresses. If you need to exclude WordPress admin, we have also the option to enable email obfuscation. That is a very interesting word. If you turn this on, your emails will be hidden from bots, so you will not have that issue. We have security headers as well. It adds an HTTP security header to protect against common web vulnerabilities, and I would turn this on. There's a lot of information here. Of course, I will show you where you have access to the documentation to read a little bit more on this, because it's a little bit more technical, and I wouldn't want to explain something that I'm not really familiar with, and this is something that I'm not sure. But as I said, I will leave the documentation in the description below as well. Now next, what we have here is the WordPress hardening. Again, it's something that I'm not particularly familiar with, but you can read a little bit more in the documentation. And we have here the IP management. You can block IPs if you want, can view the blocked IPs if you have blocked IPs. You can clear all the blocked IPs, and you can also manually IP block from here for however long you need to block them. You can also show security widget on the dashboard. Let's turn this on. Let's refresh. So let's go to the dashboard. Let's see what we have here. So security status, blocked IPs, recent failed attempts. Okay, we are good to go. Again, we can reset this module as well as the other ones. All right, let's go to component disabling module, and you can disable Gutenberg globally, completely disable the Gutenberg editor for all post types, and revert to the classic editor. I don't know necessarily if you would want to do that. To be honest, I wouldn't. I prefer Gutenberg, to be fair. You can either disable Gutenberg globally or individually for posts, pages, events, whatever you have on your page as a post type. And then we have comment system control. You can disable the comments globally if you want, or for specific post types. As you can see, we have access to posts, pages, media, and floating elements. Very interesting. And then close comments on all content. Yeah, close comments after 30 minutes. Automatically closes comments on posts older than a specific number of days. Again, we can reset to default this module as well. Let's move on to the content management. We have the option to duplicate our posts, so we can enable this option as well. After duplication, we have the option to edit a screen or to have an edit screen or list view. And we can also, as a pro version, allow roles of editor, author, contributor, subscriber to have access to this option to duplicate posts. And if I go here to my posts, let's go to posts, and I am going to hover over post, and you can see I have the option to duplicate. I used to use a plugin specific for this, and it just copied my posts because I didn't want to write all my posts from scratch. They all had the same template, let's say. I didn't want to start from scratch every single time. So I would duplicate and just replace the image, the text, and other things that I needed to replace. So let's just duplicate, and it's a copy. So as I said, you can simply replace what you need to replace. So I would say this, remove the copy here as well, the text, whatever, and also go to the post, and you need to actually it replaced it. With that plugin, the slug was not replaced automatically. You would have to have this done by hand. So this is actually pretty good. So far, I think I replaced let me just think, 2 or 3 plugins that I used to use on the website to do certain things, which is actually really good if you come to think of it. This plugin already saved me some space. All right, I'm gonna disable this for now. You can also turn on the content optimization and have the excerpt automatically generated for you if you want. You can have a content ordering as well, which is very cool. So you have the option to organize your pages. So if I go to pages, I now have the option to move them around. So I always have issues with the homepage being in like weird places. In my case, it's not called home, it's called discover. So basically this is the front page, and I'm going to move it at the top because I want to have it there. And then we have the design inspiration, we have events, and we have the magazine. Yeah, so we have organized our content really nicely and neatly. I love that. All right, let's go back to content management. Let's see what else we have here. You can enable media replacement as well, which means that you replace the images, but you don't replace the media ID, as it says here, the publish date or the file name. Okay, enable SVG upload support. I think I actually have it on, I have another plugin that does that on this website maybe, or it was another website. I simply could not upload an SVG file, no, it's not here, on a website. And no matter what I did to change the file, to clean it up, nothing worked. It was an SVG file. Nevertheless, I still could not upload it. So I think this is actually a good option, a good feature that you can use. And again, you can assign roles for this. And if you work with a lot of SVGs and you have to have SVGs uploaded periodically, this is actually very good. It saves you so much heartache. And you can also enable Aviv upload support. As you know, Aviv is a little bit better than WebP by now. You can schedule posts from here, external links, enable external permalinks, open external links in new tab, allow menu items to open in a new tab. Very cool, very good. I would say very useful. And you can reset again this module. And now let's go to custom code. You know, if you don't have Elementor Pro, you know that is an issue. If you don't have access to their custom code option, because you don't have Elementor Pro, you can add your code here. So you can enable custom code integration, and you can add your new snippet. So you can call it whatever you want. Obviously, you should call it something specific. So let's say body, and this is going to be either CSS, JavaScript, HTML, PHP. You can add more description to it. And you can also set the location. And you know, the JavaScript needs to be in a certain location for it to load properly on the website. So, you know, you have options here. So I can write, for example, body, background, and save it. And you can also import and export your code if you need to. You can turn off the code if you don't want it to be active anymore, duplicate it, delete it, and reset the whole module. Okay, you can also minify the CSS and JavaScript output. Again, this is a pro feature, a good feature to have. Because minifying CSS, you know, it's one of those things that it shows on the page speed scores that needs to be done, and it's most of the times one of those culprits that makes your website slower. That is a very cool feature as well, and one that actually saves you another plugin, because if you want to add additional code, for example, if you don't have, as I said, Elementor, you can use this to add your JavaScript, my GStat codes, you know, all the good stuff, CSS. Now let's go to utilities and let's see what we have here. So you can enable SMTP, again, a pro feature. You can configure custom SMTP settings for email delivery. And these are some things that you need sometimes another plugin to set up, but you can actually use it from here. And you can also actually test your connection right from here. You can enable maintenance mode for your website, for example, show a maintenance page to non-admin users, something like this. You can replace the message if you need to. And you have also access to the system information right from here if you need to share this with customer support sometimes because your website doesn't work with your hosting providers. You can copy the system info from here. Yeah, so you can also have an overview yourself. And then let's go to additional. This is the last module. And here you can customize your avatar. You can enable custom avatar systems instead of the gravatar, basically what we have here. You can add something else from here. You can customize it much easier. It's so much more accessible. And you can role switch if you turn this on. As an admin, you can also test the different roles to see if there are any issues, to troubleshoot any issues on the website. It also shows you a switchback notice in case you are running out of time. And you can also enable the image size management panel from here. It includes the theme image size, includes plugin image size, enables thumbnail generation. You also have access to advanced user management. You can add additional fields and options to user profiles, for example, which is actually a very good thing. And of course, you can reset to default as well. And you can go to comparison, and this will show you the comparison between the features of the free version of the plugin and the pro features. And you see what's included in what version. This is what they have quite a few features, to be honest, and I don't remember how many plugins we have saved so far, but I think there are at least 3 to 4 plugins that I would replace with this one plugin. That sounds very appealing to me, to be honest. But let me know in the comments below what you think. Have you used this plugin? It's something that you would use, is something that you would want to see added to the plugin in terms of modules, features to modules. Let me know in the comments below, and I will leave all the links in the description as I have mentioned. And yeah, let me know what you think. If you have gotten any value out of this video, please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.